Hello, I'm Matt Williams. Welcome to Glimpses. My guest today is an extraordinary woman. She is the founder and executive director of Hearts United with Haiti. Hearts United is a nonprofit Christian organization that serves the needs of impoverished communities in Haiti by providing healthcare, education, and job skills. I will say this on a personal note. In my life, I have very few heroes, but this person is indeed my hero. Crystal Funk, welcome to Glimpses.
Thank you. You're going to make me cry.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. You are my hero. What you do in Haiti is remarkable, and I want you to explain to the listeners what is Hearts United with Haiti and how do you operate down there?
Okay. We have evolved incredibly over time as things have gone along and we've progressed with the ministry. But basically, our main ministry is a community center where we work with children and youth and families in our community and provide them with an opportunity to have a safe place to hang out, a safe place to learn, to begin jobs. We've started some businesses, things like that out of the community center, and just to do life together.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
You know, I have friends, and we're going to get to the school shortly that's down there.
Yes.
But I have friends who ask me, why are you giving time, money, and energy to Haiti? Oh, they say to me, you've got this poverty, you've got lack of education, food insecurity in this country. Why are you giving to Haiti? And I'm not going to read all the statistics, but it is the poorest country in the Northern Hemisphere. 60% of the people live below the poverty line. 1 in 5 children suffer from malnutrition. More than half of the children have no access to education, any form of education. So when they have nothing, and we obviously know about the gangs and the chaos and the turmoil down there, when they have nothing, it seems like, why wouldn't you go to Haiti?
Right.
If we must go there and help these poor people.
Right. And I think spending any time there, you realize immediately that not only do they not have a lot materially, but they have so much. It's just a matter of being born in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they don't have the ability to, or the resources and the connections that maybe we have. And that's where we come in, is mostly to just make those connections. It's not to bring anything down there that, we're coming in to save the day, we're coming in to do whatever. But you're right, I get asked that question a lot of, why aren't you doing something here? And to that, I usually just respond that if that's where you're called, that's fine. We happen to be called to work in Haiti, and we work with all Haitian nationals. Our entire staff is Haitian nationals.
Right.
So why not work in their own country, just like you're asking us to do in our own country? So,
and haven't you found, unfortunately in the news, we hear about gangs, we hear about the chaos. It's been my experience, the times I've gone to Haiti, the Haitian people are some of the most tender-hearted, generous, kind people I've ever met. They are genuinely good people. They just need an opportunity. They just need a little flicker of hope.
And people ask me what Haiti's like and to describe it if they have never been there. And
Right.
I always say it reminds me of my childhood and probably yours and what life was like here in the U.S. in the 50s and 60s. It was communal. Families lived close to one another, just like, we used to. I used to live near my grandparents and my cousins and all that, and we all grew up together. The community worked together. Generally, the father is the breadwinner and the mom stays at home. It's very much that family feel that I missed from my childhood. And when I went down there, I felt like I was home. I felt like I was back in that. And I really appreciate that about the Haitian people. And like you said, they work together. They may not have much individually, but collectively, they've got a lot.
They do, the sense of community. And I want to read a quote. This is the signature quote at the bottom of all your emails. And the quote is this: if anyone has material possessions and sees a brother or sister in need but has no pity on them, how can the love of God be in that person? Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth. And that's what you do. You live it with actions. You go down, roll up your sleeves, and actually get involved with these communities.
Right, right. And again, it's the Haitian nationals who are doing that. Through I come down, and my job has changed over time. Like I said, we have evolved to one of supporting our Haitian staff and empowering and training them so they can then go out and do that to the community. And people who come down with us, that's what they do. So I'm the only foreigner who works with the organization in Haiti, unless we bring teams down, which we have not been able to do in 5 years because of the insecurity.
Right.
So other than that, I am the only foreigner. It's all Haitian-led and Haitian, or Haitian staffed and Haitian-led.
Right.
So our Haitian staff are the ones who come up with the ideas for programming. They're the ones who reach out into their community. They're the ones who go out and do the work themselves. They're the ones who walk through the community and get to hear the needs and then bring the needs to me. And my job has turned to pretty much, okay, that's a need. I understand that. How can we come along and support that? Whether it's providing resources, whether it's providing time, whether it's providing training, whatever that looks like.
Great. The school that I built in Haiti, I quickly learned that I was just dumping money into it. And pouring money into a problem never solves the problem. Then Hearts United with Haiti got involved. And you taught me a crucial lesson. And that's what we've been talking about, to empower the Haitian people. I think a lot of good-intentioned people go down there with suitcases full of T-shirts or shoes or socks and give them away. But then you're hurting the local retailers.
Right.
You're taking away the business of the local Haitians. And what you taught me was find those community leaders, empower them, let them determine the fate of their school. They are given a budget that you create with them, help them create, but you empower them to run the school. And the success of that school in Léogâne, I credit you for that, because we have the school, it's expanded its number of students, we have solar, we have fresh water, we have a chicken program, there is a community garden. And the goal of making it sustainable and independent is in the near future. And that's all because of you.
Yeah, well, it's because of them.
Okay.
They're the ones doing the work.
Yeah.
I can lead a horse, so to speak, and, they may choose not to accept that. And that community has, I've told you this in the past, but that community has sustained me a couple times as I've gone through this journey, because not everyone is as responsive, especially when you get closer to the capital city, to Port-au-Prince, where there has been a lot of influence and people who come in and want to just do the handout thing.
Right.
And just give. And so people want to take. And that's not creating any kind of independence. And so in this community, because it is so remote, I think they didn't have that. And so when we came in and started working with them, they were eager to succeed. I credit you with that, because you made that very clear, that they needed to be successful. That This is not something I'm going to bankroll forever. You need to work towards sustainability.
Right.
And we were blessed to be able to be the ones to come in and work with them and watch them. And those guys have seriously encouraged me so much. There were at least 2 times when I thought of just giving up. I'm like, it's just too difficult. You're fighting against a system that is just so broken and so difficult. And so many people are feeding that beast, so to speak, of of dependence. And so I came in, and those guys out in Baz-Citronnier in the school just were so eager to learn and to grow and to be proud of that school. And now they are very well known in the community. People come to them. They have a pavilion they built. They use the pavilion for community events. They are, the school is like the happening place right there that was built. So
you keep saying that word community, and that's the operative word, isn't it? It's communal. It's building the community so that we know we're connected. We are working together as a community.
Right.
And that is something you've nurtured, something they've nurtured. And I must give these 3 men down there at that school all the credit, because they have stepped up in a remarkable way.
They have. And they have grown in the process as well. I mean, some of the things that they have learned, they are now implementing in their personal lives, and they're coming back and reporting that. When we had the earthquake in 2021,
right,
we ended up using one of the guys that started the school and helped building the school, because we used all local labor. We ended up using him to build houses down in the south, which was a good 2.5-hour drive away, but we brought him down because we knew that not only was he someone who was responsible and had proven that he could manage a budget, that he could keep good financial records and give us accountability, but he also really was willing to, and then he worked with that community and taught a bunch of people. And now that lingers and remains, and he doesn't need to go back if there's ever something, because they now,
I think that's
it's
wonderful
beautiful.
because I always say when you help an individual or community, it's like dropping a pebble in a lake. There's that first little ripple and then it ripples out. And that's a perfect example of kindness, goodness rippling out beyond the community around the country.
Right.
That's great.
Right. And yeah, it's neat to see 13 years into this, some of the
13 years.
13 years.
That's how long you've been doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been married for over 40 years.
Yes.
You've got 3 daughters, 3 grandchildren. Is
Three
that
granddaughters.
3
It's all girls.
granddaughters? You got a pack of girls.
Which is why I'm so passionate about having girls at our community center that are able to learn and be educated. Because in Haiti, girls don't get often the same opportunities that the boys do.
And at the school, they are provided a uniform, 1 hot meal a day. These are certified teachers.
Yes.
And they get an education, basic education. Why do you think education is so important?
Oh, education, first and foremost, is something no one can ever take from someone. You can give them a handout. You can give them clothes. You can give them a house. You can give them whatever. And someday they could end up not having that. But education, once it's in there, it also helps to broaden their mind, broaden their horizons a bit. One of the things we really want to start working with at this school that we really want to start working more on, we've already worked some, but we're starting to work more, is on teaching in a different way rather than rote memorization. In Haiti, it's rote memorization.
Right.
And so they're not really expanding those horizons as much as they possibly could be. So we've been implementing some of the stuff from our community center near Port-au-Prince into the community out in the remote community outside of Léogâne.
See, that's great. That's great. And I tell people when they go, this school, I mean, do you think you're going to save all these children? And I go, it's not about saving all these children. It's about, 1, letting these children know we care, that they are loved, so that they do matter. 2, it only takes 1 child. If you educate 1 child that goes on and gets an advanced degree and can come back and give back in some way, then it's a success.
Right.
Right?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. We're starting to see some of that, especially again at our community center in Carrefour, which is a suburb of Port-au-Prince. We're starting to see that after doing it since 2000, that we've done since 2016.
Yeah.
And that we're starting to see graduates from our program now go on and actually get jobs in a market that they have like an 80-some% unemployment rate in Haiti. But they're finding jobs because they have skills that they've learned from our community center and integrity.
Right.
That's the biggest thing I hear from potential employers is these kids, we're seeing they're different than others because they know they've come to our center. They've been mentored, so to speak, discipled, if you want to use that word, where they've been with our staff and our staff has said, this is not tolerable. This is not what a person does in a culture that unfortunately has become somewhat accepting of that type of lifestyle because especially with the gang increase and some of the things, those things are accepted. So our youth are starting to stand up. We're hearing the stories that some of the youth in our community are starting to stand up and say, no, we're not going to do that. And that's not going to lead to a great future for our country. And that's exciting. So yes.
So you believe, my next question was going to be, is there hope in Haiti? I mean, but obviously you believe there is,
Absolutely.
or you wouldn't have spent the last 13 years pouring love and time and energy and money and all your resources into that country.
Right. And yeah, no, I definitely believe there's hope in Haiti. I believe there's great hope in Haiti. I believe they're going through a period right now that is really difficult.
Right.
We're bordering on, I mean, some reports are saying they're calling it famine conditions right now, that it's just getting so difficult to not only the food is there in some areas, like in the remote areas, but you can't transport it because the gangs have the roads blocked, or, you can't get funds down to be able to purchase it, or the inflation rate is so high people can't afford, or they can't get to their jobs, so they're losing jobs. Whatever that is, that's causing the issues at hand. But yeah, I think after this period, Haiti will rise again and it will transition back. And who do we have in place at that point? Which is why we concentrate on the youth. Right. We concentrate on the family, but also the youth.
Why do you think the world seems so indifferent to Haiti? It's like, it's not even on anyone's radar. There's chaos, there's famine. There's such poverty, but no one seems to be doing anything other than Hearts United and a couple of other organizations down there.
There actually were quite a few. It was considered the Republic of NGOs, people called it sometimes,
Okay.
because there were lots of people.
But that was right after the
Right
earthquake,
after the earthquake.
in 2010.
Right. And now there's not nearly as many, especially in these last couple years. A couple reasons for that, I think. I think for that, it's because when the insecurity came, people had not poured into their staff. That's something that we've been passionate about from day one, is pouring into our local staff, hiring Haitian people to do the job. We don't have foreigners on the ground. And so therefore, they own it. And when things got tough during the pandemic, for example,
Right.
we actually grew. Instead of going down, we actually grew our programs because we weren't using the area. Prior to that, we were bringing teams in from the U.S., bringing in groups, and we were using some of those areas of our building for housing groups.
Right.
Well, they were sitting empty because of the pandemic. And so our staff said, Crystal, we have all these empty spaces. The community's asking for more programs. They'd like to do adult literacy. They'd like to do some other adult classes where they learn. They'd love adult English. They'd love some other things. We don't have the space. Can we use those rooms? We'll put everything in storage in one room and expand for just a period of time. And that remains today because we still haven't been bringing groups back. And it has just grown and grown and grown. So to answer your question on why people aren't doing anything, that's a great question. I don't know why the international community has not stepped in.
One, resources. There's not resources in that country that other countries need. Gold, oil, whatever.
That's a big theory, yes.
Big
a big
theory.
reason.
It's not strategic militarily. So it's kind of ignored.
Right. Yeah, there's no benefit at this point
Right.
for anybody to get involved. The other thing is people are saying because of past history that they've gotten involved, and Haiti just continues to cycle back into this same, but it's the way they've gotten involved. It's not been empowering and working with the Haitians on the ground. It's been going in and bringing in foreign. That's when things started to digress, was 2018 when the UN started to pull out. The UN presence was there. As soon as they announced they were leaving and their contract was up, it started to digress.
Right.
And then when they left, July 2018, it started going crazy and going downhill with the insecurity, at least.
Right.
Because they're afraid of the UN. They're not necessarily afraid of the locals because they haven't been empowered.
Boy, that is the operative word, empowered, isn't it? And by working with the people, and the fact that at one of your centers, they're expanding the programs. They took the initiative to do that. And that's only because you empowered them. That Hearts United gave them the center, gave them the nest, so to speak, to hatch all these ideas.
And not only that, but it was beautiful for me to watch our staff because I can tell them, you're capable. You're able to do this. It's your center. You run it. You tell me what to do and I'll help. I can tell them that, but when they're actually physically, I can't go. I realized how much they were still deferring to me as the leader, as the expert, so to speak, just because I was foreign. And when I couldn't be there, they had to make decisions.
Right.
And so we often talk about, we say, Hearts United is we're like divorced parents, and Hearts United is our child. Sometimes you have the child, sometimes I have the child.
Right.
You may make a decision when you are in custody of the child that I may not agree with, but I understand and I care enough and I trust you enough to know that you made the best decision you could make at the time.
Right.
And later I may sit down with you and we may discuss, hey, that probably isn't how we should have handled it. But at the time you did the best. And so that's what I want them to understand, that I trust them that much, that they have this organization and they run it. And same with the guys at the school out in the remote community. This is your school. You run it. You don't need to call me with every decision and say, can I do this? Do you think we should do that? It's yours. And they really stepped up more than I had realized that they were not. I guess if that makes sense.
Right. Well, let me ask, you have so much compassion in your heart. Let's go back to your childhood. Where did that begin? When did you get this nudge to help other people?
Always, honestly, always.
Even as a young girl?
Ask my kids, yeah. I mean, even as a young girl, my parents probably instilled that in me. My brother's best friend in high school his father was divorced and remarried a woman who had a couple girls. And things were, he was high school, the girls were high school age. It just wasn't meshing well. And he came to live with our family for his whole senior year.
Okay.
And my parents just opened up their home to him. And he still, when my
Because there
father,
was a need. There was a need, and they
Yep.
provided the help.
yeah,
Okay.
when my father was dying of cancer, he came and was just like, you know, you guys were there for me, and I want to be. So I think we've always done that. My husband and I, years ago, when my dad passed away, we had an older gentleman in our church. We knew he was probably going to be going. He was a widower and or a widow and widower,
Mhm.
and we knew that he was going to be going into a home possibly because he was living with his sister who had Alzheimer's, and they were probably both in their 80s. And he came to us at church one day and said, I'm going to have to move into a home because she has to go into a home. And I live with her. I won't have anywhere to live. And Ron and I were like, no, let's build a spot. So we built an apartment on the side of the house. And not to toot my own horn, but I'm just saying that we needed the space anyway. And he moved in. It was the best decision ever. He lived with us for 2 years until he passed. And he was a built-in grandpa for my kids. It was,
That's
so
great.
yeah, we've always done that kind of stuff. So this is not unusual.
It's just ingrained in who you are, your family.
Yeah. And it's nothing special. It's what people should do anyway.
Yeah, I know. But unfortunately, when we get so self-absorbed and selfish, and it's all about me, we forget that giving to others, and it's not just Christian, almost every religion on the planet
Mm-hmm.
talks about helping those in need, helping the poor. And I'll paraphrase there's a Buddhist belief that when you help another person, it actually expands your inner soul, your being. I'm paraphrasing like crazy. And that's part of the measure you give is the measure you get back. And the thing I've learned through the years is you can't outgive God.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how much you give to
Absolutely.
others, you can't outgive God. It does come back, and it may not come back in the way you anticipated it would, but it does come back tenfold.
I was just going to say that. I was going to say it not only comes back, but it comes back so much more. I
Right.
get so much more than I give, or I feel like I do. You know, just going down, and when I was down in January, February, I had a mom. One of the students came to me and he said, my mom wants to talk to you. Well, that can go one of two ways. She could either be coming to me to say, hey, you're in town. Here's what we need for our family. But they've come to the point, I kind of knew it was probably going the other direction. And
Right.
it did. The other direction was she sat down with me and she, for like 15 minutes, luckily I had actually a film crew on hand who was filming for something else. We were doing a promo video for our organization.
Right?
And she sat with me and he filmed it. And she just went on and on about, you know, what the organization has done to help her son be successful. He now knows English. He now knows how to drive. He now knows how to do some computer skills and things like that. And just the person that he's become. And she thanked me for just us coming alongside her son and walking through life with him and helping her parent. And it was beautiful. I just sat there with tears streaming and it's all in video. It was just such a great moment. But I get so much more out of what we do than what I feel like we give.
A gentleman that worked with you in Haiti, he worked very closely with you. I would like you to tell that story, one, because there is a tragic element, but more importantly, two, the way the community and others rallied around the family.
Mm-hmm. Okay. He was a deportee, which means he was living in the United States, actually North Jersey, right near New York, and was deported to Haiti because of some trouble that he got into. And so we met him, and he was not an employee of ours. He just was a guy who lived in the community where we serve. The community is pretty much they call it a shanty town. It's like a slum. And so he lived in there, and that was where he had relocated when he moved to Haiti. He was killed by the gang because of some issues with a car. It was just a fight over a car, and they came in and they executed him in front of his wife and one daughter. His other daughter was at school, and we got word. We had a meeting with him that morning, actually. But he was instrumental in helping us because he was the eyes and ears in the community.
Right.
He would come and let us know if one of the kids was getting in trouble or if something was going on or whatever. And so he also was very well respected in the community by the other community members. He was a motorcycle driver. And so if they ever had an emergency, they would wake him up in the night and say, we need to get to the hospital. He was there. So he's just an all around good guy, had just made some poor choices in the United States and gotten deported.
Right.
And so when he passed away, it was a huge loss for our organization. But we were able to come alongside his family and help them build a house for them because that was his dream. He had bought land and saved up enough to buy land by working, doing odd jobs for us or odd jobs in the community and driving his motorcycle. And so he wanted to build a house for his family and he talked about it all the time. And so when he was killed, the community was like, they were fine with the fact that we were able to raise funds. So we came alongside to raise the funds, but we hired all local laborers.
Right.
All people from that community, actually, who we have a mason in that community who needed work. We have other people in that community. We have a guy who's a welder, whatever, to make the iron bars for the windows and things. And so we were able to build that. And we not only raised enough for that, but we were able to raise enough to send his daughters to school now it'll be probably 3 years worth of schooling because in Haiti, you pay for schooling. there is free education, but it's really subpar.
Right.
So you pay for your education. And so they're now able to go to school for a couple of years. But it was beautiful because I was concerned that maybe the community would feel like, hey, wait a minute, how come they're getting all this? And they'd be jealous or be envious or have problems. Not at all, because they cared about him enough and they also respected what we were doing. And so people just volunteered, people helped, people worked, and it was just...
I go back to that pebble in the lake. One good act of kindness, it ripples out. It always ripples out.
And he would be proud. He would be proud to see that his daughters are getting their education, that his wife now has a secure place to live and, has a little home and actually started a little business on the side now. So she's able to continue to support them. So,
well, speaking of daughters, you have 3. What do they think about you and all your work? Do they worry about you? Do they sit you down and go, Mom, seriously, you're going to Haiti?
It depends. I get all of that. I mean, my middle daughter has been to Haiti with me. She's with the first year that I went to Haiti, I started on a short-term mission trip with another organization. I actually went down. I worked with them for 7 years in the United States prior to going down. And I went down on staff with them, leading short-term groups that were coming after the earthquake.
Right.
And my daughter was with me and she did the same thing. We both went for a period of time. We were there for almost 8 weeks. And so she's been down. The other 2 have never been. My husband's been many times. And they vacillate between, they're proud of what I do. They love what we do. They all help with website stuff or questions that I have on social media and things because I don't understand that with my age. And so they help me with those things. But otherwise, but when I go sometimes, especially the situation now, they'll be like, Mom, we're scared. When I have to have those conversations, which frankly we do, about, okay, here's some emergency contact numbers. If I get into trouble when I'm down here, here's friends who may know where I'm at. And I share my location with friends when I'm down there. Or if I, God forbid, get kidnapped, here's someone who, I have to change names in my phone so that.
But Crystal, that's why you're my hero. Seriously. You're going down there with all this tumult, this chaos, this anarchy. You're going down there, going from one plane to another, sneaking in back roads, so avoiding roadblocks by gang members. You are physically going down there to care for these people and love on that community. And that has to be celebrated. That's why you're my hero.
See, and well, thank you. I don't look at it as heroic. I look at it as honestly, almost, I don't want to say selfish, but that's how I feel sometimes because I don't need to go a lot of times. Most of the time, they're empowered. I mean, they know what they're doing. They're running it. I go, sometimes it's logistics. We try to buy everything local. We try not to, but right now it's hard to do that.
Right.
And some things are not available. So sometimes it is logistics. I need to go, but I really don't. We have a shipping service. We have ways to get things. So I go to fill my tank because when you do relational ministry, you truly get to know the people. These are not just a project. These are my friends.
Right.
And so Johnny, our coordinator, and David, our director of our community center, and the guys at the remote school in Bas-Citronnier, they're my heroes. They're the ones to be celebrated because they're the ones on the front lines every day, going to the bank and risking their life to get the money out to do the projects that we do. or going into the city to pay taxes because we're a legal organization in Haiti, and, being able to do those kinds of things and passing through gang infested areas. So, for what I do, it's not, and I mean, they tell me, they're honest to say, don't come right now.
Right.
And then I don't go. And they have carte blanche to pull the plug for until the minute I'm on the ground, and even when I'm on the ground in
Right.
Port-au-Prince. If I land in Port-au-Prince and they say, and they know, and we have enough relationship that they would tell me,
Right.
like, if you need to say, Crystal, I'm sorry, get a hotel room by the airport and go back. We will. My husband and I did that. January of 2021 was the last time he was down. We got into town, and one of our staff members' best friends was kidnapped. He had translated for me before I knew him, and he came to us. We were in town one day, slept over. Johnny came in the next morning and said, Giovanni was kidnapped last night. I need you to go home. I
Right.
don't feel safe.
Right.
And I said, okay. And it's more they don't feel safe, because if they're seen with me,
Right.
a foreigner, they're connected to possibly finances and
Right.
things. So he's like, I don't feel safe. Giovanni's been kidnapped. You need to leave. We drove to Port-au-Prince. It took us 3 days to get a plane out, but we got out and left and came home.
But this goes back to when there's so much darkness, when it's really that dark, one little candle flame
Mm-hmm.
provides a lot of light. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe you have more than one flame. You have these little flames of hope flickering in Basset-Trinier, at the
Mm-hmm.
school, Carrefour,
Mm-hmm.
other places where you are providing this hope,
Mm-hmm.
and that needs to be celebrated. And so I want to, for people who are listening, how can people help Hearts United with Haiti? Obviously, there can be donations or volunteering time. How do they find you? What can they do to help you help the people of Haiti?
Right. We have a website.
All right.
So that would probably be a good place to start. So
Right.
Hearts United with Haiti. People say for, people say
With
whatever.
Haiti.
But with Haiti, heartsunitedwithhaiti.org. And they can go on there and find out more information about any of our programs, our community center or the remote community, or any of the other things that we do. And it's pretty clear on there. It's pretty wordy, because I tend to be pretty wordy, and I've done their website. So, but there's a lot of information and pictures. They can follow us on social media. We always put our needs out there if there are needs. Again, that's my job now, is the liaison between, okay, here's what's going on in Haiti. We've started it, got the ball rolling, and now they're running it. So what are their needs? What did the people in the community need? What's going on? And then, for example, we just recently had a flood.
Yes.
And so we had, our community center is built next to a canal. The wall between the canal and our center broke. Water came in, flooded the whole first floor. 3 of our staff members lost a lot of stuff. And then we lost a lot of things that we had sitting in boxes on the floor, never thinking that a flood was going to come through.
Right.
And again, that was a beautiful moment. I know you'll probably get to the glimpses question, or so, how you
That
see.
is a glimpse. That was my last question, was because Glimpses, the book, Glimpses, a comedy writer's take on life, love, and all that spiritual stuff, is the book is about finding little glimpses of God in our daily life. And by God, I'm not talking about,
Right.
the white-haired guy on a cloud. I'm talking about tenderness, unexpected compassion, kindness. So this sounds like a glimpse.
Absolutely. I mean,
All right.
I had a meeting that day with my Creole teacher, which I haven't. I'm conversational in Creole. I'm not fluent. If my staff wants to talk above me, they can easily do so, and I have no clue what they're talking about, and they get a kick out of that. But I can also speak to them in Creole and
Right.
understand. They all speak English anyway. But I had a meeting with my Creole teacher. She had a support group for people who are stuck, for lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm.
Their heart is in Haiti, but they're here stateside for a period, just the way it's working out right now.
Right.
And so she had gotten a group of us together on Zoom. And that was the day that we had the flood the night before. And when I got on with her and was talking to her, I said, I'm sorry, but I'm not 100% myself. I need to say that right in the beginning of the Zoom call. I am dealing with, there was a flood at our center. They're sending me picture after picture right now on my cell phone of the devastation. There's mud like 3 or 4 inches deep on the whole first floor. But I got all choked up and I said, but there's people from the community coming out. like crazy. They're all in there, and they all just showed up. Now, Matt, they had experienced the same flood, the
Yes.
same rain, the same stuff that dumped down, and they live in shanties. They live in tin. They have, maybe many of them have just tin walls. They have, tin for roofs or tarp for roofs. So they all, when it rains, have to pull all their stuff out and dry it and put it out in the sun and all. They could be doing a million things at home, but they came to us. And they're all working together to clean up our community center where their kids come, where their families come. We just had a family game night the other day where they all come to just have a safe place, away from the gangs, away from the chaos. And they're cleaning it up. And she stopped and she said, wait a minute. She said, that doesn't happen. Like, Haitians will work together. Absolutely. They're wonderful. Now, she's Haitian. And she said, they'll work together. They're great at community. But for a foreign organization, when something happens, they're more like, they've got the resources, they'll take care of it. And they don't necessarily, and they wanted nothing in return. It wasn't like they came for a quick job.
Right.
It wasn't like they wanted nothing. Johnny was trying to pay some of them, and they were like, are you kidding me? After all you guys do for our families? And so we truly are a part of, and I credit all of that to our staff.
Right.
Our staff, who they live in the community, they work in not the direct community where we serve, but they live in Haiti. I mean, they're Haitian, and they live in that same area, general area.
That's a good example.
Yeah.
The measure you give, measure
Yeah.
you get back.
Exactly.
They're giving back in their own way.
Exactly. And hopefully we're instilling that in the youth in the remote school.
Right.
Same thing. They're out there working in the community garden.
Right.
They're not getting anything. I mean, they're getting some vegetables and stuff from that, but they're putting in time and energy and effort into that community garden, and understanding that community garden is for the community, for the school.
Right.
And, it's not for your personal use, it's for the school.
Right.
And so we chop up those vegetables and use them for everybody. And your time is going to be given back. But hopefully someday, maybe they'll have the opportunity to do it for someone else or whatever, and they'll have those skills and abilities.
One of the things I admire about Hearts United with Haiti, it's a Christian organization, but you don't proselytize. You don't go down there and beat the Haitians over the head with the Bible.
No.
You just swoop in and help.
Right.
Wherever the need is, help and empower that community so that they can become sustainable and independent. And I want to ask you, Crystal, what is the greatest need right now for Hearts United with Haiti in Haiti?
Absolutely. I mean, we have many needs, but honestly, our greatest need right now is we have a deficit every month at our community center in Carrefour, where thankfully we just happen to have either someone come along and give a generous donation that lasts a couple months and gets us through that deficit or not. But we do offer a sponsorship program for youth at the community.
Explain that sponsorship program, because that's crucial.
Right. And you're not sponsoring you're sponsoring a particular child. You get a bio on that child and you get information on that child, but it's not like that child can't come to the community center if you're not involved or whatever. We're still open. We still allow them to come. But when they come, they take either computer class or they go through the program for 6 years.
Right.
During those 6 years, they'll take 4 years of English and 2 years of computer. And then they also get to come to other classes and other opportunities like homework help and other things that we offer and tutoring and whatever. So we also feed a hot meal every time they come to the center. So all of that costs money to pay the teachers, to pay the clean water, to pay for sports equipment that we use, to pay rent on the building, to pay our cook, all of the different things. And so we started the sponsorship program so that people can, for $32 a month,
$32 a month
$32
per child.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And then that gets them a bio and they can write to their sponsored child. They can communicate. They can be involved. If we ever bring groups back, they can meet their sponsored child. And all that money gets pooled collectively together to cover all of those expenses.
Great.
We have 70 youth right now in the program. 22 of them are sponsored. So that means we need 48 new sponsors in order. And if we get those, we will be able to make budget to be able to pay. Currently, we're getting some generous grants, which will run out, and we're getting some individual donations that have been helping. But we are coming up on crunch time where those things are going to start to dry up, and we're going to be needing some support.
And this support is directed right at the child.
Right.
This isn't, you're not buying couches or putting up new curtains. This is money that supports the child
Right.
and makes sure they get a hot meal and an education.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. That's one of the hardest things for some reason to raise funds for. And I think there's been negative publicity in the past for organizations who do, money goes to overhead, money goes to, we're talking about me flying back and forth to Haiti
Right.
and going regularly. All of those flights since day one have been paid for by a friend of mine. I've never paid for one flight to Haiti. Hearts United.
So
Never
you're
paid
not
for one
taking
flight. I don't
donations for
take
your
any
flights.
salary. I don't take any. No, it's all volunteer.
So everybody should support a child.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. If they can, that would be fantastic. So,
Well, I truly believe if you help even a single child, you can hear the angels laughing. I really believe
Absolutely.
that.
absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for being on Glimpses. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. I really do. And this has been fun.
And for those of you who are listening, thank you for joining us on this podcast. As you go about your day, take the time to look around and catch a glimpse.